On April 2nd, 49 lives were lost when the Taroko Express train derailed at the entrance of a tunnel in Hualien. The impact of the crash left many of the victims' bodies mangled beyond recognition. As salvage work got underway, a mortuary team from Changhua stepped forward to offer their services. This group, called the 76 Monks, worked day and night to meticulously repair the bodies of the dead so that their families could see them as they once were one final time. Tonight in our Sunday Special Report, we meet these heroes behind the scenes.
The date was April 4th, 2 days after the Taroko derailment. The body of the accident's youngest victim, a 4-year-old girl surnamed Chen, was escorted by her family away from the funeral home.
We had to return all of her organs to their places, and then we had to restructure all the bones in her body. As for the body itself, we had to realign it and stitch it up. It's now in a good condition.
Although he had worked 15 hours straight through the night, Chen Hsiu-chiang had no plans to stop. The body of 21-year-old military police officer Chen Pingquan was waiting for him to restore.
When he was alive, his uniform fit him well, but now his body is swollen. I've asked the family to speak with his unit and ask if it can provide a larger uniform for him to wear.
The deceased must be presentable. Upholding this concept is the basis of Chen Hsiu-chiang's profession.
For the needle to go through the tissue, it has to be deep enough. If the needle is curved, when it is inserted and removed, it will be easier to control. To get it sewn up, we need the right depth and position on the tissue. We have to sew it very meticulously. So reattaching a severed limb, or even just a hand, requires several hundred stitches.
Chen Hsiu-chiang's posture and practice movements while he works are akin to those of a surgeon. However, these same hands were once used to commit acts of violence, including attacks on people.
Back then, when I was in junior high school, I hung out with the older guys who would stab people, and they showed me how to commit robbery. When you are a good person and you find a stable job, your whole life is just an ordinary existence. But these gang members stood out. They drove expensive cars, wore brand-name clothing, they earned money like it was nothing.
That world of illicit pleasures had a powerful hold on Chen Hsiu-chiang, but mixing with that crowd also came at a high price. By the time he turned 30, he had been incarcerated 6 times. Only after he met the woman who would become his wife did he leave that life behind to put his energy into the funeral industry. When they first got into the industry, the couple was disappointed by the lack of respect shown toward corpses by older funeral parlor workers.
Sometimes we would need to move the body or turn it over. When they did this, they would be very coarse about it, very disrespectful. I stood next to them, thinking they didn't consider that body to be a person. To them, it was like an object.
有一些如果比较会缝的老前辈，他们可能就用大针。
There were some older funeral workers who used large needles, like the kind you would use on leather. They would use those large needles and just sew a few points. If they were dealing with a severed hand, they would just attach it at a few points, and as long as it was stuck together, that would be good enough. They would quickly put the clothes on the corpse and call it a day. If there was a serious car accident, you wouldn't even see the face at the funeral because they didn't know how to restore it. They would just print out a picture the size of an A4 sheet of paper, something like a profile picture, and put it on the body.
Wanting to do a better job, the couple began seeking instruction from a variety of professionals, including makeup artists, special effects artists, and surgeons. Combining what they learned about mending and sewing tissue and applying makeup, they became masters at the art of restoring corpses.
这个脸就是我们 做的一个赝品假皮的部分。对，如果说
This face right here is a copy we made using fake skin. If the deceased's face is badly damaged, we might make fake skin and then apply it over top.
So far in their career, Chen Hsiu-chiang and his wife have volunteered to help the elderly who die alone. They have also assisted in times of disaster, such as the 2014 Transasia crash on Penghu, a gas pipe explosion in Kaohsiung the same year, and most recently the Taroko derailment in Hualien.
因为我觉得每一个人、每一个企业、每一个行业。
I feel that every person, every business, every industry, every role has what you would call a social responsibility. It's especially true in my case, since I've received help from others in the past. Today I have the ability to help others, so maybe it is I who should be thankful.
Under Chen Hsiu-chiang's guidance, the 76 monks has grown to 300 members, including morticians, rescue workers, and social workers. These members invariably hold Chen Hsiu-chiang's skill as a mortician in high regard.
After the earthquake that struck Hualien on February 6, 2018, the two final bodies that were recovered were damaged beyond recognition. Yet he was able to look at their pictures and use modeling wax to recreate their faces.
In teaching his trade, Chen Hsiu-chiang is every bit as meticulous as he is with his work, and his students are equally respectful of their strict teacher.
因为我们要缝合之前所谓的该有的一些那个。 譬如说心脏的部分啦、肺啊、胃啊什么。
For example, the heart, the lungs, the stomach, and so on. You can't just toss those organs in there any way you like. You have to follow their original placements, one by one, putting them back in order. He is very fastidious. If I put in a stitch poorly, he will say, "This was sewn by you. Do you think it's okay?" When he asks whether I think it's okay, I just pull it out.
Of all the disasters Chen Hsiu-chiang has encountered, none surpasses the collapse of the Weiguan Golden Dragon building in Tainan following an earthquake there in 2016.
有如灾难电影般情境发生台南市区中央。
On February 6, 2016, an earthquake struck Tainan, causing the collapse of the Weiguan building. Rescuers on the first day recovered the body of a father holding his infant daughter who was still breathing. However, the daughter later died in the hospital, and her two older brothers were later found dead among the rubble.
那他们两个的遗体状况就是非常的损伤非常严重。
The bodies of those two brothers were very seriously damaged. They had heavy floors suddenly drop on them, which caused their limbs to separate from their bodies.
At the time, Chen Hsiu-chiang and his wife had a son, but they hoped to also have a daughter. Then, 2 months later, Hong became pregnant and she had a vivid dream.
他们两个兄弟是站在我的面前，很近。
These two brothers had been in front of me, very close, so I saw their faces very clearly. The younger one was closest to me, so I had thought to myself, will that little boy be reborn as my child?
产检的结果知道是女孩之后。
When we went for a maternity checkup and found out it was a girl, she said, "I had that dream, so why did it turn out to be a girl?" I told her she had forgotten about the boy's sister. I told her maybe the boys wanted us to take care of their little sister.
Later, the mother of the 3 deceased children, Mrs. Liu, met Chen Hsiu-chiang and his wife and became their daughter's godmother. As if preordained, the couple and the bereaved mother became connected and their destinies intertwined.
这位老师啊，阿妈是谁的？
A prodigal son returned home is worth more than gold. Chen Hsiu-chiang's mother has seen him go in and out of prison numerous times. Now that her son is on the righteous path, she can't help but beam with pride.
对呀，现在也是差很多了啦，该一站差出这样啦。
One threaded needle at a time, Chen Hsiu-chiang has restored the bodies of more than 1,000 deceased people. In the process, he also brought peace and wholeness to his own life.